What are we chatting about today?
We're chatting about us.
Nice.
And
That's
I
always
say
a good
that
topic.
because, right? Because we can talk all day about that. No, what I mean is we are women of a certain age, right?
Truly.
Yes, and have been through some things. And I believe that our stories are super relatable for a lot of people.
For sure.
This is the reason why we're here doing what we're doing. So I wanted to touch a little bit on the idea of kind of being a badass in your 50s and what has brought us to this age and the success of things that we've gone through, been through, seen, and the failures. But again, I believe that we both are better for the journey. So kind of wanted to dive into that. So tell me from your perspective, the difference between Jeanette at 25 and Jeanette at 53.
Oh my goodness. That's
Ready, go.
Vast. I think that there's so many, it's interesting, the seasons and the stages of life. And there's so many nuances to every one of them. And I think trying to compare the 25 to the 53 is really challenging because it's almost like you live lifetimes in a lifetime. And there's been so many. I think the main thing that I would say is at 25, I never thought there would be a time where I would be comfortable in my own skin.
Yeah. Yeah.
That I am now feels amazing. And at the same time, you go through some stuff to get there, which, life happens. But trying to compare 25 to 53 is wild because there's no comparison at all. It's like being different creatures.
Right. No, that's true. That's true. I could say that about myself as well. Yeah. Night and day. Mm-hmm. Thank God, right?
Well, it is, thank goodness. And thank goodness that every step along the way has its own value, but there's so much grace in being able to look back on it.
Right.
It did not feel valuable or graceful or any of those things while they were happening, though. Right. That's the hard part. And that's the hard part being this age and trying to talk to somebody who is younger. And you'll survive that. And they're thinking, no, I'm not going to survive.
I'm going to die. My heart will never mend.
It's true.
Yeah.
I'll never get over it.
Yeah.
And now I can see how sometimes you can get over a lot more than you think you can.
Wow. Yeah, that is a very profound statement. Hugely. Yeah. It is funny to look back. And at 25, I was newly married and get ready to have a baby, I believe, if I'd have to go back and, it's right in there somewhere. And I was ready to be a mom, but I wasn't exactly ready for that relationship. And so it's funny. And even if you go back in your high school days and you reflect on who you were back then, when I was 16, 17, I was madly in love, and thank God that didn't work out too, because two totally separate people. You weren't even close to knowing who you were as a young woman. Sure. The world was like right in front of you, and you're like, trying to figure out, okay, where do I go from here? Why do I keep making the same mistakes? How do I learn from this? What the hell is happening? And blink, here we are at 53.
I know.
And my girlfriend Pam always mentions, she says, 11 I love yous and something marriage. I don't know. She has this saying that is just so dead on. We could all say that. Well, I've got 22 I love yous and 6 marriages, and that's not me. I'm just throwing that out there. And yet the lessons just keep on coming, and it's like, well, I keep on trying.
That's right.
I mean, keep on trucking, and thank God for the ability to keep moving forward as a woman, because I honestly don't think that the men are equipped to take on what we take on and live what we live through and continue to just like the Energizer Bunny, just keep going. And, you just get up and you dust off and go, all right, what's next? And I don't think that Sorry, Donovan. That guys are equipped to do that in a lot of ways. I'm not saying that that's not possible, but I just think that we carry a hell of a load in a lot of ways because we are the mom and we are, the one that's there, and it's just we're built different for it. And thank God for lessons learned and the ability to, which is my next question, the empty nest time after you put in all of those nights and days and suffering and pain and worry and stress and heartache, and they love you one minute, they hate you the next, raising children, and then it's, nobody gave you a manual when those babies were born and said, all right, in 18 years, kick their ass out and you're free, go party. It's not like that. It's devastating. That's my identity. That's my focus. That's what I put all my energy into in my life. And that was it. I bounced my world around that. And yes, I had relationships, but they were always number one. And then all of a sudden they go, okay, bye. And you're going, wait, what? Mm-hmm. So now what? So how did you get through all of that? Empty nesting.
It's interesting to think about because I don't think that you really get through it. I think that life has this lovely way. So this is my take on that whole process. I think when you become a parent, when probably in gestation, your brain wiring changes. I really firmly believe that. Your wiring changes to now include this child and yourself, which is lovely. Except for the fact, like you said, when your child is growing up, their brain wiring is wired to hit a certain point and then want out.
Right.
So they leave, but your wiring as a mother does not then change.
Right.
The wiring that you were graced and blessed with when the child was born does not magically go boop into party time. It doesn't happen. So therefore we have that, what they call the empty nest syndrome, which it really truly is.
For real.
It's a hole that you fall into. And I don't know how you come out of it, even to this day. I feel like I'm past it, right. But I feel like it was just an illness that ran its course.
You got better as time went on.
Right.
Right. It's another grief thing, like we talked about a while back. It's a grieving process for sure.
Absolutely.
And an identity crisis, I think, at the same time, because it's like, well, what am I going to do now? And oh my gosh. And, I'll use for an example, in 2018, my oldest left in 14-15, and then 2018, the youngest left. And then we moved right after that in 19, and it was this constant barrage of change for what seemed like forever. And it took me a couple of years to get grounded. And I started, I think the main thing a person needs to do, a woman needs to do, or man, I guess, because it can happen, both sides obviously, is to focus on something else, inner focus, take care of yourself, self-care. I started to get really creative. I started to do photography. I started to do my design stuff and started my website and got all that stuff. And it really took that energy that was fully focused on raising kids and making sure I had the job and the roof over the head and, all these things, and then focused it on something else. And it was really empowering. And again, like you said, you don't really get over it. You just navigate through it and you kind of claim a new identity. And that's what I did. And I miss the hell out of them every day, but that's the way it's supposed to be. And the moments you get are sweeter right. with those little times rather than, I don't see them all the time because we live in two different states now. And, but the moments are sweeter and you cherish those. And then I'm going to be a grandma. That's coming up, but you're already one. So you can't,
it's a blast.
You're an old hag at this point now.
I have lots of those.
Yes,
and
you
they're
do.
Lovely.
Yes. So anyway, I think that the new identity and self-care and focus on something else creative to take that energy somewhere else.
And that's a really great thing for people to think about is, now, especially with my situation, I think that we have to give ourselves time to get to know the new person. You're still in the same body and you're still living your same life. So we kind of miss the part where it is kind of an opportunity to be introduced to a new you. And because we try to force the old into that hole, it's kind of that nuance is really hard. And being newly into my situation now, 7-8 months, I feel like I'm just getting to know this person, and I'm enjoying that process. I'm learning to feel her out and kind of experience her with a new appreciation. But I miss that with the empty nest thing. And maybe that's why, see, my empty nest got filled with caretaking. So it went from my grandma to my dad's late wife to my mom and my son. So with all of that caretaking, the empty nest happened, but didn't happen in a way. I kind of didn't switch those gears. And I think life kind of has a way of forcing you to switch the gears.
Right.
And, but yeah, I feel like there's an actual lovely opportunity for you to get to know yourself again if you so choose to take that route.
Right.
Yes.
I know that's true. I haven't, I skipped a few years in there being kind of caretaking for my folks, just in the last year or so. So I had some time in between of trying to get to know that new me, so to speak, and self-care and, adapt a new kind of life and put that energy somewhere else, which I think was probably better for me because I wasn't handling it very well for a while with all the change, just on top of change, and living out in the middle of nowhere where we live and away from everyone. And then I had some time to be able to acclimate to that new role. And then when this thing came up, both of us have these big, dark uglies in our closet, so to speak. And my thing that happened last year enabled me to be strong enough to take on what I took on to help my folks. So interesting way to look at it, though,
right.
That we went through, the same thing, empty nest feelings, but then you dove right into one caretaking situation on top of another. And now you're kind of at a point now where you can, do more self-care and focus on yourself more. And I've kind of been doing it for a couple years previously.
Nice.
So anyway, I think it's important that to be a quote unquote badass gal in your 50s is to definitely self-care. Absolutely. It's one thing to look good on the outside, but if you don't look good and feel good on the inside, then it doesn't matter. You can look like $1 million on the outside, but if you're just a heaping, emotional pile of crap, then, it doesn't matter what you look like. So self-care is important. You be strong for other people, be there for other people, and, to be able to be there for future grandbabies and be strong and be healthy. And that's my goal. And I'm glad to do it. I think we look damn good, by the way.
Nice. Lovely.
So ladies, the point is, take care of yourself, inside and out. If you think that you're kind of in a slump after the kids are all gone or they're getting ready to leave, don't forget to take advantage of all the things out there for us now for self-care. So take care of yourself, inside and out. And we'll see you next time on Mahogany and Willow.
Because there's always something important to talk about.